Hello, Internet. My name is Ace, and welcome to How to Draw. What's she called? Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls. So, great, absolutely great characters. So, we just start with a big old oval in the middle. Don't worry if you see my screen tilting left and right and up and down and all that. It's just because I just find it easier doing things on a certain angle than others. I'm using Manga Studio, but you can do this with pencil, pen, and anything that makes a mark. You can do this with. Next time you go to the beach with a family, make a nice blossom in the sand. So it's dead important to be super sketchy. So right now here, I'm sticking the actual guide for where the hairline falls, and I'm going to be drawing Blossom with her head tilted down a little bit. So normally her hairline will fall maybe a third of the way down, whereas this is more towards the half. It's just because it's tilted. And the little arc I'm drawing now, that will be where the what are them hair things called? Bow. That's where the bow actually attaches to her head. So normally when you see her from absolute front on, then it's just like sticking out the top of her head. But I kind of like images with more kind of dimensions. So I'm drawing the bow, which I think is a bow. I'm drawing that bit now anyway. So the kind of curve I drew earlier. Drew is the one that's going vertically down. It's just the center line. It's important when you're drawing to think about construction and where everything is, the center of everything. And the Powerpuff Girls are quite flat almost looking. If you look at the actual show, the version I'm drawing as well is the original kind of character design. I know this year they've just brought out a new kind of a reboot thing, which I'm not too sold on the character design on the new one. I like that they've gone something different, but I just prefer the original. So it's important to just know where you are, even if you're working on something that's quite graphic and flat like the Powerpuff Girls are. So you can see me blocking in the bow right now, and as you can tell by my by what's in front of you, I'm super sketchy, and I don't mean I'm a dodgy person. I mean my lines are like super rough, super sketchy, and it's important to do that on the first pass of something. So I'm just doing the what would that be called? Like the parting, I guess, of the fringe. So it's super important to stay rough and sketchy so you can mold things and kind of sculpt them and figure things out. Like I've drawn that a bit too wide, so I'm gonna kind of thinnen that a little bit. So it's super important because you can always, if you're working on paper, you can stick another piece of paper on top of it and trace to get your final ink lines. If you're working digitally, you can do a new layer, take it into another program, and ink on top of that, and just get rid of the sketch. People are never going to see this sketch layer. And if you don't have something to be able to trace with, whatever, you can do your sketchy lines super light, go over with like an eraser so you can just see the kind of main lines, and then draw on top of those eraser lines with a darker pencil. I tend to do my sketches in blue just because the pencil, that I use in real life is a Colorase. I'm not sure the exact. Have I got one here? I've got the red one. I can't remember the name of the exact blue color, but it's just called blue. So I use that in real life. So I just like to kind of emulate real life. So what I'm putting in now is the eyebrows. It's just got like a kind of frowning expression, because again, I like images with expression and kind of a bit of dynamism. dynamism to them. So yeah, she's got tons of expression. So I like the kind of frowny look. Gives her a bit of attitude. So yeah, just putting them in. You can see that I drew kind of diagonally to the center line to make it like a V, and then went back and cut it off. Here, roughing in the actual shape of the eyes. Obviously, the Powerpuff Girls have got like humongous, like bin lid eyes, just huge eyes. So it's important to kind of get that in, and which I didn't really do there, but normally would do. I'm not sure why I didn't. Is draw through objects. Like you can see with the V that I did for the eyebrows. I drew through the hair where it's not going to be seen, and it's just important to really know where your objects are. It would probably be better to carry the circles on, like I went on the outside on the hair left eye, owl right. So you can see it's kind of taking place now. It's sort of looking like God, I can never remember her name, but Blossom. It's kind of looking at her now, and the kind of big thing is a snarling kind of mouth. You can really see her attitude. So again, that's just an arc. I'm just rotated the canvas and did it on this angle just because it just feels more comfortable to me for me to kind of everyone's got like a natural arc with their arm, which is comfortable. Some people it's coming towards themselves, some people it's going away from themselves. And it's important to rotate the page if you're working on paper, just to get the best lines you can. Even at the sketch phase, it's better to be comfortable. So the pupil or the retina, I don't know the anatomy of eyes very well, but the coloured bit is I'm just again blocking that in just there, just big shapes, and you can see me drawing through the actual fringe a little bit, so it's a bit more of a natural art. Because if Blossom was real and she had these huge owl eyes, then just because it's she's frowning, it's cut off by the eyebrow or by the hair, that arc still goes in a full circle. It's just been cut off by the skin. So it's important to kind of draw through and get the feeling that there is a full circle there. It'll make your images look a lot better. So I'm just kind of what is it, like rubbing that bit out, but just trying to get a bit more of a nicer kind of arc to it. Again, it's just a sketch. I won't be inking it on this video. If people want to know more about inking, then just leave a comment down below and just say that you want to see an inking video, and I'll do videos on inking for sure. I did actually ink this. I didn't record it, so I'll show you what it looks like inked up at the end. But it's not my normal inking style anyway. I actually inked it in Illustrator because of that flat look, and it just kind of works to be a bit more mechanical with the kind of Powerpuff look. So there's one eye done. You can really see that it looks like oh my gosh, Blossom. It's really looking like Blossom now. And again, just kind of mirroring but not mirroring, because if you look at the picture, I know it's a bit awkward now because I've rotated it, but she's actually looking very slightly to hair left. And you can see about that center line that I put in at the beginning that goes through. She's looking slightly to the left, so there's not going to be like if you kind of went round and copied our left, the eye that's on our left, and mirrored it just wouldn't fit. It wouldn't look right. And I feel it's really important, especially with eyes, even on cartoon characters, because it's just where, especially on the Powerpuff Girls, where their eyes are essentially the majority of the face. It's when we're in everyday conversation, we look at people in the eyes and then we look at their mouths. So they're the most important things. That's why a lot of characters like this that are stylized, they kind of neglect the nose a little, because unless you're really strange. You don't really spend much time when you're conversing with people, staring down those nostrils. It's kind of a bit weird. So so it's important to spend a lot of time on the eyes, and as well, although the Powerpuff Girls are very, like I say, they're very iconic, kind of very simple shapes. It's still best to draw the other eye and make it different. It needs to be slightly different in somewhere. When Because, like, again, going back to real life, because that's all character design and cartooning is. It's just caricature in real life, and in real life, nobody's eyes are exactly the same. The skin folds that are over the eyes, they make different shapes, and if you go and look at your own eyes in the mirror, you'll see they're not as symmetrical as maybe you once thought they were. So so go and do that, and see that one eyelid will be open more than the other, and we don't tend to notice it unless we're actually looking for it, because we kind of fill in the blanks in our mind. So so there's a face done. I'm just sticking in the kind of directional line for her body. With the Powerpuff Girls, it's quite difficult because it's all about the head, man. It's all about the cranium. There's not a lot of body to work with. So if I was doing like a more, I guess, humanized, or just even a character with more length, and even like Mickey Mouse or something like that, there's a bit more body to work with than there is with the Powerpuff Girls. I would do a line of action. Again, if you want videos on line of action, I will definitely do them. I'll probably do them anyway, but let me know if you want videos on line of action, because that stuff's super important to make your characters just look like they've got life and energy, and there's something behind them that's driving them to actually do the things they're doing. I know that sounds strange and kind of a bit nebulous and out there, but it's kind of, you need to believe that your characters are alive for them to seem alive, if you get what I mean. So because we're tilted forward, there needs to be a bit of a thing called foreshortening, which is tough to describe in words, actually, but the closer something gets to the camera, the shorter and larger it appears. So if you kind of sit in front of the mirror and put your hand, the closer you get to the mirror with your hand, the shorter your hand looks, but the larger it looks. So her right leg is further forward in this image than her left one. I've maybe made her body a little chubbier than she should be, but I can change that in the inking as well. When we're in the sketch phase, anything can change. Okay, we can mold them and do anything we want with them. So when you're inking, you don't just want to be tracing. You want to be actually fixing, not mistakes, but kind of every time you, like if you could even start with an even rougher phase where it's just the big shapes, which I often do. Then you go into this phase, then you go into your inking. Every single time you need to be adding something, not just tracing. So as you can see, the body from this angle, her dress takes up maybe 2/3 maybe of the body, and then there's the neck opening at the top, and then you're basically just going halfway between them to create the stripe. So the bodies are actually very simple in Powerpuff Girls. So there's that. I'm just filling the colour in there just to darken it up a little bit. Again, I'll be inking it later anyway. So if I was doing this myself without recording this, I almost certainly wouldn't fill in those blocks of color, I'd maybe just put an X in to let me know that those are darker. Or sometimes I do fill them in so I can get like a bit more of a idea of what they're going to look like, especially if it's a character I'm not super familiar with. So here, again, these are they're not really line of actions, but they're more directional things of what's going on with the arm. So the right arm, as we're looking at it, her left arm, that's going to be coming further forward, and the other one's going to be going further back. So I've kind of just just drawn in a general kind of direction of what I want those arms to do. So again, the feet is super easy. It's just you just cut in that shape in almost half again, and then add in a little kind of upside down moon to that. So again, if you're following along, which you should be, it's pointless watching a video unless you're actually going to follow along. A lot of artists and people do that, and to be honest, I sometimes do that too, where you get in the what's the word? You kind of get fixated with watching interviews and tutorials and courses and things like that. And if you're not actually doing the things that you're taking the course in or watching the video on, it's kind of pointless. I mean, you will learn something just by listening and watching others, but you don't actually fully get to learn something until you're actually doing it yourself. So as you can see, because of that foreshortening, that hair left foot is going back. So to simplify it, really simplify it, is the further back it is at this angle, the actual shorter the shoe is going to look, the shorter the leg's going to look, because it's further away. That's just just simple physics. So again, it's important to flip. If you can, if you're working on paper, you can hold a mirror against the side or the bottom or the top, and just see what's. Sometimes you can't always see the problems unless you flip your canvas upside down or the right way, whatever, because your eyes get adjusted as you're drawing to what's in front of you, and it's not always the best. Sometimes you need to flip that canvas, and sometimes you'll immediately see exactly what's wrong. You'll be like, oh, how did I stick the nose out that far or the cheek bump that far? And then you can just go in and correct it and flip it back again. That's more of a kind of old painter trick. So I'm not happy now. I'm happy in life. I'm not happy with this image at this moment, because where the eye ends, right there, it looks like that feeds straight into the arm. So what I've done is just cut off. I've just changed the shape of the eye slightly, just so you don't get this awkward feeling that it's just one continuous line. That feels really awkward. There's a thing called tangents as well, which I'll maybe get into in another video, which are things to just avoid. And there's things that are not technically tangents, but kind of fall in that field as well, that just make the picture just look awful. And well, not awful. Some people have made their careers by using tangents, but I don't know. To me, I can't stand them. So I'll maybe do a video on that. Get a bit angry and riled up. So now it's just the little flick of hair at the back, kind of trailing behind. So as you can see, it's more dynamic view than just the front on one, where you're seeing a little bit the top of the head, and it's kind of cool. It's hair obviously flying or whatever she's doing. And the chemical X gains. And yeah, so I think I'm done now. So I'm just cleaning up the lines a bit. So here's the inked version that I did, again, in Illustrator this time. So if you want to know how the best way is to go about inking and inking cartoons, inking comics, inking anything like that, then just let me know, and I'll definitely do a video from that. Just so yeah, thanks for watching this. If it's helped at all, and if you want to see more videos, then subscribe and share with your friends. Write a comment. If there's something you're stuck with, just let me know. I'll try my best to get back to you and kind of update you and let you know the best way to do something. Yeah, so just like this, subscribe, everything like that. I appreciate every single like and every single subscriber. So thank you, and yeah, I'll hopefully be bringing more videos that are going to help you out in the future. So take care. Bye bye.